When I was little, my father was famous. He was the greatest samurai in the empire. He cut off the heads of 131 lords. He was the greatest samurai in the empire. And he took me with him.
Hey everybody, ever since I did my video on how globe deniers don't understand how Great Circle flight paths explain the emergency landings of certain flights, I've been thinking about how the flat earth map that most globe deniers toss about, this AE map, is laughable and doesn't fit the real world. Not to say it doesn't have its uses, it's just not how the world's land masses are actually shaped and spaced. Much like this map does not accurately reflect the way land masses are shaped and positioned, yet has its uses. Calculating flight paths just isn't one of them for the so-called flat earth map. But according to many a globe denier, this is the true shape of the earth. Here they are, endorsing it on the record.
One of the more widely accepted models of the flat earth is the 1892 Gleason Standard Map of the World. This map is said to be scientifically and practically correct.
This is their map. And the powers that be who use this true shape of the earth as their symbol,
the same United Nations which haughtily uses the flat earth map as its official logo and flag,
have been lying to the world, not only about its shape, but its size as well. Even though we know how big the earth is. Now, some of you will probably say, no, we don't. We just know what they tell us. And though it's true that very few people have measured the entire Earth themselves, we know how far apart things are. I've driven the length of California a whole lot of times, and I know that the reported distance between, say, Oakland and San Diego is accurate. People that travel on a daily basis, they know how accurate what we are told really is. Some may argue that we know what it is over land, but over oceans is different. To them, I say, okay, let's look at the kind of distances globe deniers are proposing with this map. Let's start with a basic agreement that the equator on this map is about 24,900 miles in circumference. I'm sure some of you are already upset with this idea, but you'll see in a moment that this map is so grotesquely distorted, it doesn't matter what size you pick. With an equator of that size, a problem immediately arises. That value means the US is only about 1,900 miles from coast to coast, over 700 miles less than the known width. But that's only the first little discrepancy I measured. I'll accept it for now and move on. So, with a nearly 25,000 mile equator, what kind of flight distances are we looking at? Well, since I mentioned Australia in my last video, what is the length of the direct route from San Francisco to, say, Sydney? Of course, flights will veer from the direct path for weather purposes and such, but let's stay with the direct route. Given the scale of the map, this route isn't that bad. It's only 5,815 miles compared to the 7,420 calculated on the globe. Given the 14.5-hour reported flight time, that's actually a reasonable average speed of 400 miles per hour or so, compared to the globe's average of 511. Not bad. Let's try a path from Sydney, but this time to Johannesburg, a flight that on a globe is over the Indian Ocean and is 6,846 miles, but on this flat map is a whopping 9,239 miles at this scale, and takes you over land nearly the entire time with an average speed of 660 miles per hour. To get that average speed over the entire flight, I'm pretty sure the plane would have to go supersonic at some point. You'd think passengers would notice that they were going that fast. After all, globe deniers don't believe the Earth is spinning because they think they should notice the speed. You think the passengers on the plane would notice that much speed and a sonic boom and being over land. A similar problem arises for a flight from Johannesburg to Sao Paulo, Brazil on this flat map. 6,430 miles at an average speed of 618 miles per hour instead of 70% of those numbers that the globe gives us. Now, I made a basic assumption that the equator is 24,900 miles around, which most globe deniers seem to agree with. But that makes the distances north of the equator far smaller than measured, and distances south of the equator far larger. No matter what dimensions you apply to this map, it's going to be exaggerated south of the equator and more the farther south you go. I'm beginning to see why globe deniers repeatedly claim that these southern hemisphere flights are impossible. Impossible, they say, because they make no sense on this so-called flat Earth map. And we all know the go-to position of globe deniers when confronted with something that undermines their claims. Deny. So these flights have to not exist, or else they'd have to face being wrong. No, if they wanted to truly challenge their ideas, instead of going on a cruise that uses GPS for navigation, or going to Alaska to witness something everyone already agrees occurs, they could get on one or two of these southern hemisphere flights. Look out of the window to see if they're over land when they shouldn't be. Track the direction of the flight and all of that. But they're not going to do that because they know they can't control the outcome and they're afraid of seeing the results they'd get. So, like the boogeyman, they just close their eyes and try to wish it away. Oh well.
That's my job! That's what I do! I don't lose! I win! I win! Is there no one on this planet to even challenge me?
Maybe you came by to congratulate me on last night's victory.